Hi everybody, it is June 9, 2024. Hello Andrew and Sandra and Alicia and Rage Against the Machine and D Moore. And Justin Wynn. I hope you're getting some good news on the job front, Justin. Donna Davidson, hello. Agnes and Christy. And BMCC, Silent Walk, Kim Blanchard, Oracle 11, and Analog Synth Player, and Kimberly Hollingsworth. Hello, everybody. Well, this is Radar. Supercell action. Very defined storm here, going across several states, all the way to North Carolina, beginning in New Mexico. Look at that. Look at all of these supercells all lined up neatly. And we've got an awful lot of soldiers, supercell soldiers in Mississippi and Alabama, North Mississippi and Alabama, and Oklahoma. And this sure does, wow, explode very quickly. Arkansas, how are you guys doing? And of course, yeah, the Panhandle of Texas, New Mexico. And look at how nicely defined this, blob of precipitation, shall we call it? Look, I mean, they manifest and then they go in separate directions. Okay. And of course, our supercell manufacturer down here off in Mexico, they seem to be they're there an awful lot. We also have these supercells in Colorado. And in Idaho, got a nice frequency blast here in Montana. Right there. I am of low energy. My eyes have been really bugging me lately, but today, really worse than any other day, and scratchy throat and very little energy, so I apologize if I sound like I have no energy. It's just the truth. It'll change in a minute. Hi. So, yeah, weather or not. Arkansas. These hailstorms now, common. Into thin air. Video out of Arkansas. This is not normal, but will become normal. It's quote-unquote normal now. And you watch, eventually people will be forced to relocate. Oh, climate change and all of the rules and regulations surrounding climate change. Everybody is going to be feeling it. Relocating. Kansas, USA is in chaos. What is this? This is June 8, yesterday. The title of these videos gets on my nerves, but they do a good job of bringing you what is happening within hours, certainly within 24 hours of that happening.
Heavy hail hit several areas of Hawaii, Kansas on Friday, causing traffic delays. This storm caused tornadoes, and authorities urged people to stay indoors. This is the current situation. There were reports of hail as high as 4 inches or 10 centimeters, roughly the size of a softball, in Hoxie, and hail as high as 3 inches or 8 centimeters in some areas of Kansas.
This is what we're having right now! Whoa!
Descriptions of hail range from the size of golf balls and apples to softballs and baseballs. Videos circulating on social media showed hail hitting residents' vehicles and roofs.
Oh my goodness, we are getting some hail. Ah! Ah, painful.
Something's happening somewhere all the time. Boat ramps, recreation areas closed due to flooding at North Texas lakes. I'll tell you, there's an awful lot of recreational parks, lakes, beaches that are closed. And I think that portends not a very fun summer for Americans.
The recent severe storms and major flooding has thrown a wrench in some folks' summer activities at North Texas lakes. Some lake goers are being turned away due to the high lake levels. Taking a look around the area, Grapevine Lake almost 20 feet over conservation levels. According to Texas water data, in January, it was below the conservation level. Lake Lewisville and Lake Levon are both roughly 10 feet above conservation.
Hey, Blake, today was starting to feel and look like summer, so naturally people wanted to get out on the lake, but they were met with closed signs and forced to turn around. With all the rain we've gotten, some areas are still flooded, and the Army Corps of Engineers says it will take weeks for the lake levels to get back to normal. The storms are gone, the sun is out, and the heat is on. On Saturday, people like Jose Ortega headed out to the lake to cool off.
It's like very nice weather, especially after all the rain. It's really nice.
He's out here for an annual birthday celebration with his church and family. Except this isn't the usual spot they go to at Grapevine Lake.
Usually he does this every year, and we usually meet up over by the tennis courts on that side, but it was closed.
He's not the only one forced to turn around trying to get into a park area at Grapevine Lake. After all the rain in North Texas, Grapevine Lake is about 19 feet higher than normal. Park areas and boat ramps are closed because of flooding.
It really depends on the lake, and without any additional rain in the watershed, it'll be a good month before we can actually get all the flood water.
A good month. And this man is there to keep you safe. Employee of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. They were kind enough to help an old lady out. Oh, let's all be kind and help each other out.
A story you'll see only on 2. A Cloverleaf woman without power since windstorms hit that area 11 days ago.
That homeowner, Maria Solar, says Centerpoint was aware of the problem but unable to restore her power until she reconnected her meter box. That meter box was ripped from the wall by a fallen tree in this month's storms. KPRC2's Bill Barajas is live at Solar's home with how her neighbors, a couple of electricians, and non-profit, one of those groups came together to help out. Bill.
Well, Centerpoint says it's the homeowner's responsibility to reconnect the meter. Ms. Soler had an independent contractor come out to give her an estimate. They tried charging her $5,600 for the job, money that she just does not have. She's 71 and diabetic. Now, the independent contractors and electricians were having issues, so the electricians came out to try to fix the issue, and they have so far, and now it's up to Centerpoint to hold up their end of the bargain. It was a two-man job. Both men a bit shy, choosing only to share their first names with us. Nonetheless, Jesus and Alan are licensed electricians. Today, they endured the heat to make sure Miss Maria Solar no longer has to.
Never thought that I would be in this spot, but I am. And it is very hard.
Friends and neighbors also doing their part by sharing their electricity, allowing Solar to power a few fans and one small light.
I walk with a cane. Everybody else, I'm sure. I'm a diabetic. I can't put my insulin
in the fridge.
And I don't know if it's any good.
The problem, this meter.
The tree fell on the pole. The pole was hooked up with the wires to the meter.
Yeah.
When it fell that way, it pulled everything with it.
Ripped it out.
Ripped it off. Ripped it all off.
And so then what are you guys doing now to fix the issue?
So we're putting everything back.
Leave it ready for them just to come and hook it up.
That should work.
The gesture, something Solar will always be thankful for.
They were kind enough to come over here when I called them, and they were kind enough to help an old lady out.
As it should be. Very nice. Southern Arizona wildfire update.
Pat Paris.
And I'm Heidi Alago. We begin with a fire in Cochise County in the town of Bowie.
That's east of Wilcox, of course, near the New Mexico border. We're told at least one person was hurt in this fire. KGUN 9's Alex Dow is live on scene now. Alex, what can you tell us?
Heidi, I'm standing right now in what was once a trailer home that has completely burned to the ground. It's one of 4 structures that burned in this Lincoln fire. It also got over there, you can see the electric poles weren't even spared. Fire crews are still around putting out fires, little hot spots in the wreckage, moving debris. These are...
Do you notice the trees surrounding this house that was gutted? You notice? Do I have to bring that to people's attention? I probably don't. But I'm talking, I'm singing to the choir. That's right. There are so many little fires in Arizona, and I say little. You know, it's not the campfire in Paradise, California, but homes are going up in these fires.
The 13 acres where this fire has traveled. Here's a closer look at what the scene looks like right now. The Bowie fire chief says that the remains of at least 3 trailer homes, 1 smaller trailer, and 3 cars are still smoldering here. All except one of those trailers were abandoned, though. 1 trailer had 4 people inside. All 4 were able to get out, but 1 had to be airlifted to the hospital up in Tucson with burns on his arm. It was confirmed that this person is an adult and one of the child of the owner of the trailer home. I was told that the reason he was airlifted was because the Wilcox Hospital here isn't equipped for this type of burn.
And this is the Simmons fire in Arizona.
This was a pretty small fire, only about 350 acres, but that fire took out 4 homes and damaged 5 others.
It's spotty, burning parts here and there, burning one house, but not the one next to it. The Simmons fire burned a 1/4 square mile through the Riverside neighborhood near Kearney. Evacuation orders were lifted Friday morning and people could get back in here to survey the damage. This house was empty, but had been in the family for years, the owners told us. The house next door was owned by an 84-year-old man who managed to make it out as the house caught fire.
Well, I used to have a lot of happy times here. I had a very good, I lost my wife about 4 or 5 years ago to cancer. Me and my dog, we lived here. That's what my grandson told me. He said, Grandpa, he said, we can replace all that stuff, but we can't replace a life. Excuse me.
Fire.
Oh, man. Well, look at all of this dry brush right next to this house. Very dry. Right up against the fence, which is the houses that caught fire, but first, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. These wildfires sure have taken on very, well, characteristics that one might claim are anomalous. Yeah. So, massive landslide in Jackson, Wyoming. Another park. Forget it. Closed down.
And good thing, road crews saying that they were very lucky that no one was hurt and that no equipment was damaged, but
of a massive landslide that's cut a key highway near the popular tourist destination of Jackson, Wyoming. ABC's Alex Prochet is following this story. Good morning, Alex. Really stunning because this is such a popular destination.
absolutely, Gio. The Wyoming Department of Transportation is calling this stretch of road on the Teton Pass. They say that it catastrophically failed. And you take a look at these images. I mean, you can see why. A massive mudslide on this road collapsed part of the road Saturday following a mudslide just a couple of miles away. Now, that road had been battered for a good portion of last week. Authorities believe cracks and a drop in the road contributed to a motorcycle crash there on Thursday. Crews came out and worked on it. But then early Friday morning, another mudslide prompted closures here. It remained closed, and good thing, road crews saying that they were very lucky that no one was hurt and that no equipment was damaged. But this road, State Highway 22, is a critical link between small eastern Idaho towns and Jackson, Wyoming. The governor has already declared a state of emergency as state officials there call this highway a lifeline for the Teton Valley. But guys, right now, there is no telling when it will reopen.
No telling. Well, devastating floods in Austria.
Deutsch-Weistritz, a quaint town in Austria with 4,000 inhabitants, is currently facing one of its most devastating natural disasters in recent memory. Heavy rains have turned this serene town into a life-threatening flood zone. Hello and welcome to Alerts On. Today we're bringing you urgent and heart-wrenching news from Deutsch-Weistritz, a town in Austria that's been ravaged by severe flooding. Please stay with us as we unfold the events and the ongoing situation in this beleaguered town. Just a short while ago, the town of Deutsch-Weistritz issued an urgent call to all its residents to remain indoors due to the life-threatening conditions outside. The town center is now accessible only by boat. The situation escalated rapidly. Photos published by Kleine Zeitung reveal a grim reality. Vehicles are being pushed against buildings by the sheer force of the water. Some drivers found themselves trapped in their cars, only to be rescued in the nick of time. Deutsch-Weistritz, typically a peaceful and scenic town, has been overwhelmed by unprecedented rainfall. On Saturday, the Ubelbach, a river flowing through the town, transformed into a turbulent torrent due to the heavy downpour. The Red Cross has swiftly responded by setting up an emergency point for basic supplies in a local school center. This Weistritz alone. Civil defense alarms have been triggered in other smaller towns across the Styria region due to similar flooding threats. Authorities are on high alert, working tirelessly to prevent further casualties and damage. In addition to the severe flooding, a mudslide has struck a nearby motorway, further complicating the situation. The expressway had to be closed off due to the overwhelming presence of earth and debris, as confirmed by the motorway operator Asfinag. And the ordeal isn't over yet. The municipality has warned of another looming storm front expected to bring up to 100 liters of rainfall per square meter. This additional rainfall could exacerbate the already dire situation, posing even greater risks to the residents. Emergency.
Of course. When they bring on these storms, very often the storms never stop. Just like what happened in Texas, the Houston area. Weeks of just abject chaos in terms of all of the rain, all of the storms, the power outages, then more rain, tornadoes, hailstorms. Yeah, it's not fun. And yes, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I sure have. They are on it, and they are on it big. Climate change. Getting off a highway to climate hell. Yes, University of Pennsylvania professor discusses climate change. We don't need to hear it, right? No. There was another one. Here. Another Reuters here, warning of climate hell. That's what they're calling it now, climate hell. After 12 hottest months on record. What? The 12 hottest months on record? Okay, and people believe it. They believe it. World Bank demands end to farming by 2030 to combat climate crisis. Nowhere have I found the World Bank saying we demand the end to farming by 2030. We know that this is what they are doing. We know ultimately it is the end not to corporate farming, but independent farmers, the small farms. We do know it. I just don't like when people post this stuff and rewrite stories because it makes us look like jackasses. World Bank here on their site, ending poverty and hunger by 2030, an agenda for the global food system. It's a global food system. This report was prepared for the Future of Food event held in Washington, D.C. This is in 2015. So they've been working on this, and they're getting the job done. They're destroying small farmers. And when I say small farmers, I don't mean, like the independent, they're just supplying produce for the local community. I'm talking about every farmer outside of the corporate farms, right? The corporate agricultural farms that are so disgusting. Talk about not really farming and just, well, I can't stand. I really have a problem with what they do with forget about the toxins, the pesticides, the herbicides, all of that. But what they do, to the pigs and the chickens and all right. And all of that comes right back onto the dinner plate. Oof. Well, so I'll link below to this if you want to read it. I think everybody knows that farming is going down fast. Whether it's weather or pandemics. Bird flu triggers supply chain snarls in dairy industry as farmers increasingly culled cows. At least 80 dairy herds across 10 states It ignites economic stress across the Farm Belt and unleashes a supply shock. And boy, is it we're going to see dairy prices in particular really skyrocket. Beef prices skyrocket. Those 10 states are Idaho, South Dakota, Iowa, Michigan, Ohio, North Carolina, Kansas, Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas. They're killing off a whole lot. In South Dakota, a 1,700 cow dairy sent a dozen of the animals to slaughter after they did not recover from the virus and killed another dozen. This is what is going on. And not just South Dakota, but in an awful lot of places. So, United States Senate wants $500 million to buy out U.S. farms. Now, this was 6 days ago. If I included this in a live stream, I apologize. I can't remember. They're really accelerating all of the agendas to the point where it's overwhelming to try to keep track of everything. But let me just play a few minutes of this.
Hey guys, welcome back to As a Man Thinketh on Yanasa TV. Hey guys, welcome back to As a Man Thinketh on Yanasa TV. So the United States Senate is seeking out $500 million. That's $500 million to buy back farmland. And overall, just under 4,000 farmers surrounding U.S. military bases have already been notified that they may be candidates for this program.
I believe that this is the bio sludge that the EPA said is safe. And no, it has been learned that it is so not safe. And much of the soil now is toxic. Because I did include that in a live where U.S. Congress considering buying out all of those farms for $500 million. But let's see if this is the same thing.
This doesn't throw up red flags to you guys. I don't know what should. There's a lot of controversy around this because there's been a lot of fear mongering around the purpose of this type of bill. And people have bought into this cult worse than the climate change cult. I don't even know. It's almost as if somebody is trying desperately to control the narrative before all of the science is getting out. And if you're one of these people, hear me out on this. Listen to the facts coming from the agencies, the government agencies that are putting this out there and trying to get this money to buy back these farms.
All right, that's when I click off. He's a man that actually believes what he reads on these agency websites, and he considers them to be facts. What are you going to do when they come for you? Dramatic drone footage shows moment lava engulfs road in Iceland. All right, so this is the, I believe the entire town was evacuated in Iceland because of these volcanic eruptions. But everywhere, some place in the world, every day, every night, a whole lot of people are suffering the consequences of, we're going to call these natural eruptions. We can't. Why? Because we know man can create these eruptions. We know what man can do with electromagnetic frequencies. So we can't definitively say, and that is across the board with all of the flooding and the hailstorms and everything. We cannot definitively say this is the cause. But we have been living a reality. And radar sites certainly show us these frequencies in use. And whether or not these earthquakes and these volcanic eruptions are natural, we don't know. You know, when you're living a reality, when you can hardly point to a cause for anything, life becomes just well, what are you going to do? This is happening and we are not entirely sure why. This is happening and we're not entirely sure why. This is happening and we're not. It's very important to know the cause so that you can maybe have a solution. All right, this was sent to me by a subscriber, and it is about these frequencies, the Doppler radar, NextRad, which has been going on for, well, certainly when I started looking at radar, it was 2011. And what you see here, that is all of the blue. It comes about from Doppler radar. The eastern half of the country has been saturated in NextRad radar frequencies for a very, very long time. But our radar did not look like this in 2011. It became increasingly dangerous for those on the East Coast, and a whole lot of it comes about at night. How are you sleeping?
The continuing microwave pulses that we are getting hit with every day. And I'm noticing they are ramping up. On the 16th, they started at 9:11 at night until 9:11 in the morning. You see the pulse going from the east to the west coast. All right, boom, you see that? Those are NextRad stations. Each of those towers are 750 kilowatts, pumping out between 2.7 to 2.9 gigahertz in the microwave range. This is roughly the same frequency as your microwave oven, and it has the same cause and effect relationship. This was 12 hours long that they held this pulse while we slept.
Or tried to sleep. I'll post the link. You can watch it. It's 6.5 minutes long, but that's nothing new. Nothing new. And pretty much every single night, that is what is taking place. Arizona man dead after plane crashes. Another plane crash. James Galvin of Oro Valley. The small plane crashes are happening with greater frequency.
Tonight, an Arizona pilot is dead after a plane crash this morning near Picacho Peak in Pinal County. The pilot has been identified as 68-year-old James Galvin of Oro Valley. 12 News viewer Alejo Aldrete was hiking near the site of the time of the crash and shared these pictures with us. Right now, there's no word on exactly what caused the crash. The National Transportation Safety Board, Federal Aviation Administration, and Pinal County Sheriff's Office now working together on answers.
You know what could cause those crashes? The frequencies. Oh boy. Flying a small plane? You don't want to get entangled in these high frequencies that are emitted from Doppler radar, but also the extremely low frequencies that are emitted into the atmosphere. Water main break impacting small businesses in Wells Branch. Oh boy, it just goes on and on. Our taxpayer dollars was supposed to be going to maintaining the infrastructure. Is there a place in this country that actually did it?
Residents and businesses in North Austin are currently under a boil water notice after a massive water line break about 5:30 last night. The break happened along Wells Branch Parkway in front of the Milan apartment complex. KVU's Malia Masamoto was out there today speaking with residents and business owners. She joins us now with more on what they had to say. Malia?
Brian, these local businesses tell me that having to close for 2 of their busiest days of the week has been very difficult, not only for them, but also their employees who rely on working to bring home a paycheck.
Water spraying everywhere was a sight to be seen Friday night in North Austin.
Half the neighborhood came out to see what was going down.
A contractor hit a 24-inch line, creating the massive water break right in front of the Milan apartments on Wells Branch Parkway.
We come out and then there's just like, it looks like a fire hydrant shooting water, maybe 50 to 100 meters in the air, it felt like.
Saturday morning, residents were able to get water from their apartment, but just across the street, some local businesses weren't as fortunate with their access to water.
It's definitely huge, and because, we kind of rely on these days the most throughout the week.
Richard Jordan, the co-owner of Inca Chicken, was out of town when the break happened, but can feel the effect of his employees being out of work. They've had to be closed for almost 2 of their busiest days.
I know they want to work and they want to get put in their hours so, that they can also, receive those hours on their paycheck as well.
Akil with New Satara Indian Cuisine right down Wells Branch Parkway is also feeling the effects of being without water. They were in the middle of a busy Friday night dinner crowd when their water shut off.
We were managing somehow, for a few hours, but it's hard to maintain without water.
He said,
let's do this. Let's search water main break. I've done this periodically. It is rather shocking to see how many. Update on repairs being made in Calgary's water main break in Canada. That looks like a big one. Boil water advisory lifted on Long Island. Nassau County. Wow, several communities in Nassau County are on boil water. Yeah, this looks like a big one in Calgary. Arlington lifts boil water advisory 2 hours ago. These are I filtered it for the latest update on these water main breaks. What frequent water main breaks say about America's aging infrastructure. Well, maybe that says it all. Right? Right. But you can come over here, and it is really remarkable. Our infrastructure is shot. And yeah, I don't know what to say about people. I sure wish that they could just climb out of the matrix instead of going from the blue team to the red team. So I'll play this. It's only 1 minute and 27 seconds. Amber Rose, who I don't even know, apparently she's a model. She's voting for Donald Trump. But listen to the reporter asking her questions.
Good for her.
A lot of people were shocked with your, endorsement of Donald Trump. I mean, you're all about women's rights issues. I mean, what was the reason for the big change?
Is Donald Trump not for women's rights issues?
I mean, I guess a lot of people were asking.
He's trying to make America great again. That's for women too, right?
That's true. I mean,
okay. So there you go.
I know. Does him getting convicted change the way you view him?
Not at all.
I mean, do you think you'll help his chances, like getting like reelected, or like you'll hurt
I think it
him?
helps him more. I
Oh,
think
it helps
actually
him more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people see the injustice and what happened, and they want to vote for him more than ever.
I know. I wanted to ask you. So it seems like a lot of celebrities are kind of like voting for Trump now. I mean, why do you think people are kind of like changing their way of like?
I think we just did our research, and we're just, we're not brainwashed anymore by the left.
Oh, you are. You're still brainwashed by the Matrix, believing that the red team is a good alternative to the blue team. It's not. Lesser of two evil. How often have Americans said, I'm voting for the lesser of two evil? Well, we get evil. Well, and the whole voting thing, as far as I'm concerned, is just the hope for a savior. She did say what is good, though, that she was brainwashed. Okay, by the Democratic Party. And a whole lot. I was brainwashed by the Democratic Party. And that's when they behaved in a sane manner. So, you need, Amber, you need to do more research to find out that we don't have two parties and that Trump is not about making America great again. He's part of the swamp bringing us down. All right. I stopped at 54 seconds. I can't. It's hard, man. It's hard to listen. I just get so like, oh, please, no. But I was sent this by a subscriber, and I'll play it. But as you're listening to this, and yeah, good voices, good lyrics. We are warriors. I'd like to know who, well, before I say anything, let me just play it. It's 3 minutes, 23 seconds.
We didn't ask to be here. We didn't plan to see the darkness overtaking you and me. No, we took an oath, a vow to keep, to serve humanity. There's no force on this earth to shake our belief. When we are together, we can do most anything. We can change the world forever. 'Cause it's our time. Now's the time to defeat the darkness. We are warriors on the lights. We stand for truth. We always have. We'll always do what's right. We are warriors. We will fight. We'll fight for truth. We always have. We'll always do what's right. We are warriors. Sometimes you need to sacrifice it all for a better way, for a better day. We do this for our children. We do it for the world. The storms they threw upon us, we'll face them all. When we work together, we can do most anything. We will change the world for better. This is our time. Now's the time to defeat the darkness. We are warriors on the light. We stand for truth. We always have. We'll always do what's right. We are warriors, and we will fight. We'll fight for truth. We always have. We'll always do what's right. We are warriors.
Okay, so nice voices. I can say that. Okay. Yeah. Keyboard warriors. Now there are some warriors out there, and they're doing good work. Unfortunately, they don't have an awful lot of people joining in. And that's where I have to ask, who are they singing to? An anthem for warriors in all walks of life to stand up for what we believe for the sake of humanity and our children. Okay, well, I'd love to see more of them. A warrior is someone who takes courageous action. They fight the good fight. They're engaged. They act. Nonetheless, nice song. They on to you. Maybe some of these people in this town hall meeting are warriors. Alright, I've posted on live streams about this Mayor Tiffany Henyard and Lori Lightfoot, who is paid a very handsome hourly figure to do an investigation of Mayor Tiffany Henyard's corruption in this little town, and the townspeople can't seem to get rid of her, and they sure do need to get rid of her. Wow, she is so classic. A malignant narcissist who does not give a shit. You know, as long as she has her narcissistic supply of that, support, she hangs on, has no shame. So this is where they're at. This was 5 days ago posted.
Of the most chaotic meetings in Dalton that we've seen yet. Police had to stop it from getting physical.
Let's get right to political reporter Paris Schutz and the showdown between Lori Lightfoot and Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Paris.
Dawn and Scott, that showdown is continuing outside of Dalton Village Hall. Trustees voted 4-2 to override Mayor Henyard's veto and reinstate Mayor Lori Lightfoot's investigation into Henyard's spending into that 2023 trip to Las Vegas. And as you mentioned, soon after that vote, things just broke down into utter chaos. Multiple sides shouting obscenities at each other. Cops had to step in and break it up. This is right after Henyard and her allies tried to block Lightfoot from getting up and making some brief remarks. Eventually, Lightfoot got her mic turned on, and here's a little bit of what she had to say.
Thank you. What I would say is that it's an honor to be working on behalf of the residents of Dalton. We have not arrested one of them.
You was once a mayor too. You should not even be disrespectful like that.
That's sad.
Clear the room. Clear the room. Clear the room, guys. This means adjourn. Everybody out.
So 2 hours of absolute contention here. Lots of residents voicing their concerns. Earlier today, Mayor Henyard had the block in front of Village Hall cordoned off, making it very difficult for folks to get here, especially if you were senior or disabled. So Lightfoot's investigation, at least according to trustees, is back on now. It's going to focus into Henyard's spending of village resources, as well as that 2023 trip to Las Vegas. And Henyard doesn't believe the investigation is legal. Now, residents lined up hours before the meeting. They got in, they packed the Village Hall, and they let their feelings about Mayor Henyard be known.
You're not going to understand until they put those cuffs on you. You're not going to understand it. You don't care. But baby, they on to you.
It is a shame that we, the public, can't ask you anything about the BMWs, the Range Rovers, all of that. It's like you're keeping all of that hidden from the taxpayers, and we pay for those.
You guys are following fiction, a made-up story. It is a smear campaign going on right now. People are using...
It's so not a made-up story. Smear campaign, that's right. They want you gone. They want you gone. Why can't we get rid of corrupt officials with ease? It should just do a recall, get them out. Get them out. Here, a black woman is protesting outside Hunter Biden's illegal gun trial in Delaware. She says she was prosecuted strongly for her gun charges and wasn't offered any of the special treatment of Mr. Privileged Hunter Biden.
Can you tell me why you're out here today?
I'm out here because I lost my children. I lost my home. I spent 5 years in jail for obliviated serial numbers. Delaware has their own Newman versus the state gun Supreme Court case where they made an affirmative defense that I had to prove that the gun was manufactured before 1971. I wasn't offered the same privileges or opportunities as Mr. Hunter Biden. A lot of people here in Delaware do not have the opportunity to come out and speak because they are also at Superior Court facing gun charges. They have not been able to come here and practice their Second Amendment right. I want to be a voice for the voiceless, and I need a home. It's hard to get a house with a felony. The rent is so I have not been able to be giving the opportunity of true justice and transparency, and that is what I seek today.
My only objection is that I wish people wouldn't put it in the white, framework. Because an awful lot of poor white are ending up in jail as well. So this is more a class issue than it is a race issue. I just wish we could get off that. But there are an awful lot of white people who get off and non-white people don't. Okay. Oh, man, but it's obvious that we have a two-tiered legal system that does not bring about justice. It's been obvious for decades. Those in the privileged class, regardless of color, walk scot-free. They commit crimes, they walk scot-free. Hunter Biden, yeah. We'll see where that case goes. All right, so we've got a real problem. We have a real problem with these migrants. So, since that executive order was signed by Biden, to slow down, the border crossings, to get some control over the border crossings. Some were saying that he was going to be putting a stop to the border crossings. No, he has not.
I'm moving past Republican obstruction and using the executive authorities available to me as president to do what I can on my own to address the border. Frankly, I would have preferred to address this issue through bipartisan legislation because that's the only way to actually get the kind of system we have now that's broken fixed.
Well, under heavy pressure to mitigate the border crisis, President Joe Biden taking executive action this week under a newly issued executive order from the president. When the average number of illegal border crossings reaches 2,500 a day, officials can close the border between legal ports of entry and turn all asylum seekers away. We're already far exceeding that daily threshold, as the average number of migrant encounters last month was nearly 4,000 a day. Well, President Biden's policy facing criticism from both sides, from Republicans who say he waited too long to act, that the plan isn't tough enough, and some progressives saying that it goes too far in restricting asylum. Our News Nation cameras seeking what is happening at the border today. And take a look at this video from just a few hours ago. A group of more than 100 migrants crossing illegally at the California-Mexico border. And that's where we find News Nation border correspondent Jorge Ventura, who joins us live with the details he's seeing tonight. Jorge?
They're still coming in. So, illegals block Times Square. Illegals block Times Square, and they're calling for illegals, okay? They're not American citizens. These illegals are calling for the abolition of ICE. We are in trouble. abolish ICE. Wow. Okay. New York City, Eric Adams, migrant attacks a woman as she tries to enter her apartment. It's not good. Whole lot's going on. So here are 3 hotels in Bronx, New York, housing illegal migrants for free with free furniture.
I'm in the Bronx right now. We've came upon 3 secret shelters. Inside of New York City, there's over 200 shelters that are housing migrants. Here's 3 hotels. 1, 2, 3. It takes up a full block that are housing migrants in there. And what is not good here, good for the migrants, but bad for American taxpayers, is look at all the furniture trucks. Those furniture trucks are delivering brand new furniture in these hotels for migrants. So not only are the migrants getting these hotels to live in, they're having free furniture delivered for them. It is insanity. The people that live around here, they had no idea that these were migrant shelters. They're upset. We've been told by one citizen that lives in New York, he has been trying to get an apartment for 3 years. He says now that the migrants get the apartments over the citizens because the apartment complexes know if we put migrants in these apartment complexes, the government's going to pay us, and it's free, easy money, just like these hotels. Free, easy money for them. This is what is going on. Millions of people flooded our borders. It's happening each and every day. A full block right here in the Bronx that illegal immigrants are living in. And we tried going into that shelter and in that hotel, and they kicked us right out.
Oh boy, what are we doing here? What the hell are we doing here? Okay. So, illegal migrant said he was given a house, not renting, given a house, and also is getting a monthly check. Okay.
So I just met a gentleman. He was from a different country, and cool guy, whatever. But we were talking, and he was telling me that when he came here from his country, the government set him up in a house. They gave him a house. Now I asked him, "Are you renting, or did they give it to you? Is it your house?" And he told me, "No, it's my house. They gave it to me." And then he was like, "Yeah," and then they're cutting me a check every month. So you mean to tell me that someone from a different country came into our country and was given a house, is given funding, they're taking care of this guy, he doesn't have to work, he gets money for free from the government? And what aggravates me about the whole thing is this: I'm an American citizen. I have been working since I was 12 years old. I'm 41 years old now. And the government takes most of my money. I mean, they take a good 40% of whatever I make. I mean, let's be honest. If my check is $3,000, the government is going to take a good $1,400. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I feel like I'm paying for, people coming into this country. And what aggravates me about the whole thing is this, man. I'm legally disabled. I was in a major motorcycle accident, and I was paralyzed, and it's a long story, but the point is this: when I went for government funding because I couldn't work, I was denied. What the government told me was, "Oh, you can get a desk job. Okay, so you expect me to get a desk job, but then you have people coming into this country for free, getting everything for free, and I'm expected to pay for it. But then when I get hurt, it's like, well, we can't take care of you. We can't help you. But I'm an American citizen. You should give me more money? quicker than you give it to them, because at the end of the day, I am the person who's funding the government, right? Me and the millions of other people that are in the United States. So how can you deny us benefits for getting injured, for keeping the American economy running? Now, let me say it again. You denied me money to help me get by during my time of injury. But then when someone comes in from a different country, it's like, here, let me give you a house. Let me give you a monthly check. You ain't got to worry about life. We're going to take care of you because we're the government. Well, the government isn't paying for it. I am. Me and every single person in the United States that's working. You know, what's funny is there's even people who are tax exempt, but they're still paying some way, somehow. There's somewhere where the government is tapping them checks somehow, some way. Or if not them checks, they're getting money out of something, you know? And then, you know, you have people coming from a different country and it's like, hey, we'll take care of you. We'll give you a house. We'll give you money. You don't have to worry about anything. Our citizens will pay for it. And then I'm here like, yo, I've been busting my ass for all these years. I don't see any returns on it. So you expect me to be okay with you funding somebody else, giving somebody else returns on what I do? Makes no sense to me. There needs to be a rebellion. There needs to be something. We need to figure out a way to hold the government accountable for all the crap that they're doing in other countries.
Yes, I'll post the link. You can listen to the remaining 2 minutes. Holding people accountable is a really good thing. Really good thing. State of Maine budgeted $3.5 million for 60 migrant families to get free housing, courtesy of the taxpayer, which equates to 58,000. Wow, 33333 per family for breaking the law. Does that seem fair to the American taxpayer? Okay, well, look, when you don't stand up for your own rights, you cannot expect other people to do it. You cannot expect anything good that is going to come your way if you can't stand up and protect what is yours and fight for what is right. Be a warrior. Do the right thing. When few people do that, they get destroyed, and the evil just keeps swimming along, eventually coming to your doorstep.
You guys are listening to the state. You have all these houses being built. That's discrimination in my eyes. And I wanted to know if you guys had your lawyer here, because my cousin, my ex-wife, my friend, my black friend, my white friend, any friend, they have to follow the standards of this. If they want to go to a place in Brunswick, they need 3 years tax returns, first month, last month, Social Security, this, that, and it's a battle. Nobody can live. But now you're just going to fill these houses full of people that don't have any of that. They're not even from here. Hate to say it. Half of them are illegal because they came across the border not through the port of entry. Some may be legal. Well, if they're legal and they got a job and they're paying their taxes and they're paying their bills and they got 3 months proof of this and that, so what's going on? Am I too white? Is that what it is? Do I work too much? What's the discrimination factor? Where's, like I said in that last meeting, nobody got a hold of me, where is my 2 years free stuff?
Well, it's just going to continue. So, Migrants launching himself in front of a moving vehicle in Brooklyn, New York. We are going to see an awful lot of violent chaos. English tenants evicted from their house in Derby so that migrants could be homed there instead.
Get the fuck out! No! Get away! Get away! Now! Tell him to go! Tell him to go! Tell him to go! Now!
You stole people's houses. You've stolen houses.
Right, the van needs the keys. The van needs the keys. Who's got the keys? Someone's got the keys. If you don't give him the keys. Keys. Now. Keys. Right, well then we'll be pushing it. People will be pushing it and the van will get go and get the other keys.
Dog section? What is that about? Yeah, so it happened again. Another European girl was killed at the hands of a migrant in Vienna. She wasn't the first one this week. Tomorrow it will happen again because white lives don't matter to our globalist leaders. Yeah, well, you can certainly say that and feel that and think that in very, very, very white countries. I will say it is my opinion, American citizens, black, yellow, red, white, if you're an American citizen, you're getting screwed for all of these migrants that are coming in. They want to get rid of the citizens. But yeah, this is what our Western nations are living now. So much violence. There's a lot of violence in our country, a lot of crime being committed by illegal migrants. They're not getting deported. They're getting released back onto the streets. Don't you think Americans might be upset about that?
So it happened again. The news hit today that a 14-year-old girl has been found dead, drugged, and abused in an apartment of an Afghan migrant in Vienna. This follows the news of two children who were 9 and 10 years old that were stabbed by a migrant in Duisburg-Marlow in Germany. And this follows the news of 3 women who were stabbed by a migrant also in Vienna, and a 12-year-old girl that was gang raped by 17 migrant minors also in Vienna. And that's in the last 10 days. That's 10 days in Europe. And this happens all the time. And I can't even begin to tell you how many cases like this I've reported on in the last, few years. It's endless. It's endless. And it literally never ends because nothing ever changes. Our policies never change. And then there's some uproar for a few days. Everyone's like, man, what happened here? And the newspapers, if they even write about it, there will be one headline, one article. And then everybody forgets again. And the list of girls and women and boys and men too who've been sacrificed on the altar of mass migration is too long to even fathom. And we just forget. We don't know. But everybody who argues for mass deportations or who says, hey, we need to close our borders is a racist. But if you're white in this continent and you get killed, nothing happens. Nothing happens. The whole world was up in arms about a drug dealer who was murdered in the United States, George Floyd. If you're a white 14-year-old girl found dead and raped in an apartment of a migrant in Vienna, nobody even knows your name. Nobody knows your name. And I swear, I'm thinking about this now. I've filmed documentaries before. I will do it again. No, someone needs to make a film about this. Somebody needs to put a face to all of these victims, to all of these girls, to all of these women, to all of these boys and men who've been murdered by people who should have never been here. If it's the last thing I'll do, I'm making this promise to you right now. I'm emotional about it. I'm going to make this film. I'm going to make this film because something needs to happen here and we can't just forget their names. We don't even know their names in most cases. I'll make the film.
She's a warrior. She never stops. Zero tolerance. Germany to start forcibly deporting dangerous migrants after cop dies in stabbing. So it took a cop to get stabbed for the Prime Minister Scholz to come out and say we're they're no longer welcome, these very violent, illegal migrants into Germany. No longer are they wanted and welcomed. It takes that? Really? Let's see if it actually happens. Fake asylum seeker caused panic in Warsaw. I thought Poland was doing a very good job of keeping out the migrants, but here we go. What? Okay. We're all seeing a whole war against life, a whole new world that we're living in with a whole lot of very deranged people. They're multiplying. They are multiplying, kind of like self-replicating nanobots. They just keep multiplying. And I hope, that you do everything that you can to protect your own family and your own self. But here, what nobody told you about the UK, I'll post the link to this. It's just 11 minutes and 20 seconds. But the homelessness problem in the UK is growing as it's growing in all Western nations.
There has been no greater driver for increased rough sleeping in the past year than immigration and asylum policy, and our refugee lodging project aims to tackle that, writes Jacob Dimitriou, Director for England at Housing Justice. In almost 70 years of housing justice and our heritage organizations, our services in England have never been in more demand. Much of the good work on rough sleeping that took place during the pandemic has been slowly eroded, as the number of people sleeping on the streets has increased steadily across England. While it is ultimately Britain's chronic shortage of housing, in England's in particular, which underpins every referral to a night shelter, there has been no greater driver of more rough sleeping in the past year than the multiple challenges within immigration and asylum policy. In London, in particular, the crisis is acute. The government's annual rough sleeping figures published in March showed an alarming rise of 27% in the number of people being forced to sleep on England's streets since last year, with 3,898 people sleeping rough on a typical night last autumn. This is an increase of 120% since records began in 2010. Each year, local authorities carry out a count of rough sleepers on a particular night, and the government uses these figures to arrive at a single figure for the number of people sleeping rough on a typical night. This year's data paints a grim picture, with numbers rising for the second year in a row. Rough sleeping has increased in every region of England compared with last year. The largest increase was in London, 1,132 people in 2023, compared with 858 in 2022, an increase of 274 people, or 32%. The situation for those leaving asylum accommodation is even bleaker, with a 965% increase in people sleeping rough, jumping from 42 people in July 2023 to 469 by December 2023. Night shelters in our network have reported that, in some areas, more than 70% of their guests are people leaving home office accommodation, following the government's commitment to end the backlog in processing asylum claims and reduce the use of hotels for asylum seekers.
Well, it seems that Western nations all have the same problem. All of these migrants are being sheltered in hotels free of charge from the generous taxpayers. Homelessness just continues to increase. Now, also, the numbers, to any American who doesn't understand that, no, we are a very, very large country. The UK is a small country. And England has, 67 million? Or is that the total UK population? Well, any of you from the UK, you let me know. Tiny. So, when you hear these numbers, per capita, it's a lot. It's a whole lot. And what is this? Can't even remember. 25% of Canadians cannot afford to eat.
Over a quarter of Canadians cannot afford to eat. No, I'm not talking about Zimbabwe. I'm talking about Canada. I'm talking about a first world country. It is absolutely unbelievable what is happening. And we're also going to get into the mass migration trends that are not just happening in Canada. No, they're happening in other countries as well. So Canada leads Australia into mass unemployment. So this comes from Macro Business, and we've actually explored their stuff before. They put out some great stuff and draw a lot of comparisons between Australia and Canada. Obviously, Australia has been doing mass migration to an extreme as well, just like Canada, just like New Zealand as well. It's really strange, isn't it, when you draw the comparisons between these countries and you think these are separate places. Why on earth would they all have similar policies in common with each other? And it is kind of bizarre, but anyway, it's the globalist agenda at play here. So I have noted repeatedly how Canada represents an omen of what could happen to the Australian economy if we continue running an extreme immigration policy. Canada officially recorded its largest ever increase in population in 2023, with 1.27 million residents added, 98% of whom came from net overseas migration. So
98% of their population increase. Migrants? How could anybody think that this is all just a spontaneous, organic migration from all over the world into Western nations. How could anybody think that this is not deliberate, orchestrated, intentional? All I have to do is just put in a search bar, United Nations Compact for Migration. And there is the answer. All these Western nations signed on to the Compact for Migration. So you have the United Nations, and you have so many. You've got the Vatican, you've got the Zionists, you got everybody working on this. NGOs up the wazoo, making a fortune off of the Compact for Migration. It's an industry where a whole lot of people are getting rich, sending an awful lot of people who have nothing into Western countries, and those countries are providing everything for them. Not for the residents and not for the citizens of those countries, but for these illegal migrants. So what happened to our populations? Aussies, Canadians, Americans, Brits, Scots, Irish. Oh, there are people who are out fighting. There are warriors out there. Very few and far between. We are literally sitting back, letting ourselves be destroyed. Letting our children and our grandchildren's lives be destroyed. I'll post the link if anybody wants to listen to the remainder. But I had to get up for a second, and I don't know if he said what I have said. Doesn't anybody question how it is that all of these Western nations are following essentially the exact same policies? Climate, migration, the economy. Doesn't that beg questions? We're all going in the same direction because it's a new world order. And it's not your world, it's the globalists' world. They own it, and we get to exist in it, hopefully comfortably for, a little while, until that comfort gets yanked away. Then it really hurts. Here, manager of Big Lots, Pat Geider, fired after working there for over 20 years because he followed a shoplifter who assaulted an employee and called the police. How dare you do what's right, sir? We are going to fire you.
What I saw was he took a swing, like a punch at her.
That's what Pat Geider says he saw inside the Big Lots store that he used to manage at Irondequoit. And that's why he followed the shoplifter out of the store.
I let people who shoplift leave the store every day. Mm-hmm. Every day. We just put it in the system that they ask us to do. This was an assault. This wasn't shoplifting. This was an assault.
Despite 20 years with the company and a positive review in March, the company did not see it the way Geider did. And 2 weeks after the incident, Geider says he was called to his district manager's office and fired.
Do you think you did the right thing? I think I did the right and just thing. The right and just thing.
This is not the first retail store manager fired over a shoplifting incident. It's not even the first Big Lots manager fired over shoplifting. Just Google it and you'll find the story of the manager at the store in California.
I tried to call Big Lots, but there is no phone number to reach the CEO or the communications chief. I emailed the company on Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, and again Friday morning. I asked, why was Pat Geider fired? What is the company policy? Is following a shoplifter a fireable offense? And what training do managers get for shoplifters? The company has not replied. But this poster in the Big Lots lunchroom says, never leave the store to pursue, detain, or identify a customer.
So I did not put myself in jeopardy. I did not put any shoppers in jeopardy.
I went with Guider back to his old store. He said he and police found the shopping cart in front of the Dunkin' Donuts, but lost the shoplifter. Police say the assistant manager declined medical care. Now Guider and his wife are trying to figure out how to get health insurance. They still have 2 boys in college, and at 62, Guider's not sure how easy it will be to find another job.
The good thing is we have a huge faith in God, huge faith in God, and everything will work out. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult.
All right, well, unfortunately, God's not going to come down and give him a job. At 62, it's going to be very difficult. So I'm glad he understands that. And frankly, will he be able to find a job that will be comparable in terms of benefits and salary to what he was making? No. I can say that. Unequivocally, no. So, people are going down, and God, it's just heartbreaking. Roommate of Neil, Soros, a whole lot are involved in this illegal immigration. Not just George Soros. So, oh my God. I mean, oh my God. We've got a lot of people making big bucks off of destroying Western nations with all of this. But family demanding answers after Morehouse School of Medicine graduate found dead right after she graduates from medical school. She's murdered. All right. What time is it? 6:29. It is so heartbreaking what is happening. I will post the link if anybody wants to listen, but she was found dead, gunshot, had a boyfriend. Apparently they had an argument. Sex trafficking warning for parents with college-bound daughters. Wake up. Now, parents need to wake up in terms of sending their children to college for anything. They don't understand that the economy is tanked, artificially held up. And people who are graduating college, whether it's a bachelor's degree or higher, end up finding jobs for like $12 an hour or $15 an hour. And we all know that college, universities, it's all a scam. And people fall for it. People fall for it. So, I'm going to link below to this video. I hope that all parents really listen to this. I hope that if you have daughters going to college, daughters in college, or if you have friends that have daughters in college, that you circulate this, because this is happening.
A warning tonight for parents sending their daughters off to college. Young female college students are being targeted and coerced into becoming sex workers.
Local parents of a young woman who's believed to be currently sex trafficked say every parent needs to hear their story and take note.
Wake up. This is going on college campuses. It's rampant. You don't think your daughter's going to be a victim of it? You need to pay attention.
Those Jacksonville area parents who just spoke say that they have not heard from their daughter in months.
She was a student at the University of Florida who now appears in sex videos on various adult social media websites. News4Jax reporter Eric Abenez here with why her parents and investigators believe this is a case of sex trafficking, Eric, with a legal loophole.
Legal loophole. It is considered a legal loophole when a suspected adult victim tells authorities she is okay and is appearing in sex videos of her own free will. But investigators in this case believe the 22-year-old woman is being forced to say she is okay, and until she comes forward and admits that she is being threatened to appear as if everything is okay, authorities say they cannot arrest the man who is believed to be her handler. Both her parents and a list of investigators in this case say there are obvious signs that she is being sex trafficked. Now, because the man suspected of being her handler has not been charged with a crime, we are not identifying him. We are also not identifying the parents of the 22-year-old because she is believed to be a victim in all of this.
My question is, if they know who the quote-unquote handler is, why can't they go to that handler and demand that they speak to this 22-year-old? I don't know.
This whole situation set up as a money-making way of selling our daughter online.
This Northeast Florida mom and dad say the last time they spoke with their 22-year-old daughter was back in December. They said they received a disturbing phone call from her. She was in North Carolina.
It was first a cry for help that alarmed us.
Then moments after hanging up the phone and preparing for the long drive to North Carolina, a second phone call from his daughter.
It was a cry not to help, and it was which was really confusing, and it led to, a long conversation that she was fearful for us, that she'd never be able to see us again.
This is heartbreaking for the parents because before their daughter met a man online who is now described as her handler, their daughter always came home from college every other week to be with her family. Some of her clothes are still hanging in the closet in her bedroom at her parents' home, and these are Christmas presents she never opened.
She's being completely isolated from each person, from everybody in her life, not just her family, but her friends, and so we're seeing this pattern that's completely unlike anything that we ever experienced before she went off to college.
Mom and dad received more heartbreaking news when they contacted their daughter's friends and classmates at UF. They told the parents the man their daughter met on Instagram, who befriended her, is also the same man who coerced her into posting adult content on the OnlyFans website. OnlyFans is a subscription-based video-on-demand service and social media website that some argue is primarily used by amateur and professional sex workers who produce pornography. The parents of the 22-year-old also learned their daughter was not the only female student at UF who was approached by the same man about appearing in sex videos.
He has solicited other young ladies that were her friends, and he would not take no for an answer, and we're speaking up to the tune of $1,000 or so or more to participate in some type of video.
The parents of the 22-year-old put me in contact with one of her friends who was also a UF classmate. She was uncomfortable with her voice or image being recorded for this news story. So she texted me this statement on how the man who coerced her friend into appearing in sex videos was also attempting to coerce her to do the same thing. It reads in part, "He began to pressure my friends and I to also be in their videos. The asking was very persistent and repetitive." The statement goes on to say, "I declined after being offered $1,000 for one video. I think my friend feels trapped and doesn't think she can go back to living a normal life." She said all the solicitations to appear in the videos happened off campus. Well, as you can see, I did email the OnlyFans Media Relations Department headquartered in London, England. That's because I wanted to know if they had any policies in place to make sure that the women who appear in the videos on their website are not victims of sex trafficking. While the statement they emailed back to me did not directly answer my question, it says in part that all creators go through extensive identification checks before they are able to upload content to the platform. This means we know the identity of everyone on the platform. OnlyFans insists upon signed release forms, creator identity verification for all sexually explicit content featuring more than one individual before content is posted to the platform. It goes on to say, we cooperate with law enforcement and provide them with all the legally required information they need, including account details, content messages, and payment details. But OnlyFans was just the beginning. Google searches reveal the 22-year-old is also now appearing on other pornographic websites. Images and posts on her social media pages reveal the woman is traveling with her suspected handler to various countries worldwide.
It is absolutely in your city. There are multiple women going through this today in your town.
Kevin Branzetti spent nearly 30 years in law enforcement, first as a member of the NYPD Counterterrorism Bureau, and then with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office as an investigator. He's now the CEO and co-founder of the National Child Protection Task Force. It's a company that identifies sex trafficking networks and assists law enforcement in freeing victims. The task force partners with the Tim Tebow Foundation here in Jacksonville and was called upon to help investigators look into the case involving the 22-year-old. While Branzetti can't specifically talk about his findings in the case, he can talk about the stages of coercion victims fall prey to. He says first,
the man will befriend the girl, date the girl, show her lots of love and affection.
Then the person who is doing the coercion will make the victim feel protected by telling a story that makes him out to be a tough guy.
He might talk about things he's done in his past. He may even talk about he killed somebody in his past, maybe from the military or, the streets or whatever it is.
Then the person doing the coercion will come up with an excuse on why he and the victim need to financially support each other, especially now that there is a trusted relationship. Branzetti says this is when the unsuspecting victim is coerced into doing a sex act online or with another man or woman and promised that she will earn a lot of money. And that leads to the next stage, fear. But not the fear of the victim being beaten.
But it's more about fear of what he would do to her family, her siblings, her parents. I'll kill your mother if you tell anybody. And at this point, that woman believes it. And he has her completely convinced if she doesn't do what he wants, mom, baby brother, baby sister are dead.
The parents of the 22-year-old believe that is what's happening in this case, especially after the final December phone conversation they had with their daughter. The mom says, if you're a parent who is about to send your daughter off to college, there is something you can do in addition to having a conversation with your daughter.
When you send your kids to school, get numbers, get names, try to know the other parents so you have a network of people there to call and to try to save your child before it gets to this point.
Now,
what a friggin' dangerous world. What a dangerous world. Man gets killed while delivering a package in Opa-locka.
Seen with the latest. Cody.
And Lauren, we know at this point that police do have somebody detained who they are now questioning to try to determine their involvement in this crime. This, as a woman here in this apartment complex behind me tells me this was her delivery driver delivering groceries. Photos show Miami-Dade fire rescue paramedics rushing to save a man who had just been shot in the chest in Opa-locka.
We were preparing for my son's graduation. I placed the order with Walmart, and the delivery driver, his name is Oscar.
A woman who didn't want to show her face on camera says that she came out to find that her delivery driver had been shot.
We heard pops. We didn't know what it was.
That woman rushed into action, applying pressure to the man's wound until paramedics and police could arrive. They later loaded him into an ambulance, but he died from those wounds.
I applied the towel to his chest.
Okay.
And I was trying to assist him and keep him up and keep him awake until the police got here.
It happened just before 8:30 in the morning Saturday at an apartment complex on Northwest 143rd Street and 17th Avenue.
Well, it's shocking because usually in this neighborhood we never have those type of things.
Miami-Dade police now investigating, at one point bringing a SWAT team into the complex, apparently believing the shooter may still be located in one of the apartments.
Yes, sir.
I'll post the link if you want to listen to the last bit, but what's going on? A whole lot of very innocent people are being gunned down. And that was in Florida. Teenage fatally shot trying to return an airsoft rifle. What? Retired Marine killed interrupting vehicle burglary while he was walking his dog, Austin, Texas.
The sound of gunshots rang in the air of this Northwest Austin neighborhood early Monday morning.
It was just bizarre because nothing ever happens around here. It's a very quiet neighborhood.
Neighbors still asking questions.
We don't understand why someone decided that anybody over here should die.
Anyone like Stephen Mark Peterman, a Texas Gas Company employee and retired gunnery sergeant who served in the United States Marine Corps for 18 years.
It's the kind of man that never should have been taken from this country and that we need more of.
Peterman was shot and killed outside of his home Monday morning while walking his dog. Arrest records obtained by CBS Austin state Peterman found 37-year-old William Daniels of San Antonio breaking into his work truck, which was parked in the driveway. When Peterman confronted Daniels, documents show he responded by firing multiple rounds and then leaving the scene.
Still doesn't seem like it can be real or be possible that this is the reality, that he's not part of our lives anymore.
Court documents state Travis County Sheriff's deputies found Daniel's palm print on the door of the truck, arresting him just over 12 hours after the homicide. For Daniel...
Yeah. Man surrenders after hostage situation in Brooklyn. 4 adults found dead inside a Kendall home. They've been identified. Miami. Apartment managers hide behind desks after accused of broken AC units at Tides on Wynn. Yeah, people are not communicating. They're not communicating. So these tenants, just like I've shown in other places, tenants of apartment complexes, and their air conditioning doesn't work, and, well, it's very often a corporate owner, investment firm, that just ignores it, lets the tenants suffer in 95 degrees in their apartment. You try to speak to the property manager, and you get no answers. Why? How did we get this low on just an individual level, right? So I work at an apartment complex. I'm a property manager, and the tenants have questions about the air conditioning. You answer them. You communicate with them. You would lose your job if you didn't. But they don't lose their jobs. See, it's a reality that there are not very many Americans who actually know how to respect other people and not treat them like they're nothing. Ignoring people when they're asking you questions is a sign of deep disrespect that you have for the person asking the question. It is scary.
It's not the first time I've been out here showing you the many ongoing issues several residents say they've been dealing for months. And since our stories aired last month, many residents say their issues were fixed. However, others say that solution was only temporary.
It's really frustrating, and I told them that, and I've been honest with them about how frustrating it is. I mean, yeah, it sucks because one of the worst things about it for me is that they're just lying to us, to just have us spinning in circles, just telling us like, oh yeah, somebody's working on it, but they're not.
Eric Garner, who's been living at the Tides on Wynn apartments for nearly a year, says since moving in, his hot water has been going in and out for days and sometimes even weeks. One of many struggles several residents at the same complex have dealt with for months.
They don't fix nothing. You can call for maintenance. It takes maintenance 2 or 3 weeks to get to you. Air conditioning problem, people not having hot water, sewer backing up.
Having dealt with a plethora of ongoing issues, Garner says he's now dealing with broken AC units, a much-needed amenity he says is desperately needed as temperatures climb.
Hot water and air conditioning are a necessity, and it's in the contract that they're supposed to provide those things. That's why I'm paying them.
But after trying to get the apartment complex workers to address the issue and cool his apartment that's sitting at 90 degrees, Garner says he was kicked out of the leasing office. At one point, a maintenance worker even knocks Garner's phone out of his hand.
But not only do we not have these basic needs that we're paying for, but we're being lied to about what they're doing about it, which is nothing.
Now, residents like Garner say they plan on moving out once their lease is up. Now, they also tell me they plan on withholding rent until that issue is fixed. Now, I also tried going to the office, which the door was locked, but once I looked inside, I made eye contact with some of the workers who were hiding behind their desk and refused to come to the door. Now, I also reached out to FPI management, who oversees the property, for a response, and I have done so several times, but I'm still waiting on a response back. But for now, reporting in Las Vegas, Georgia Costa News.
One dead, multiple injured after shooting and stabbing. Napa County, San Francisco area. This is just man refuses to take down hammock on a bus. People are out of their flippin' minds.
I would like to see the sign that says no hammocks.
We've got a whole.
Where's the no hammock sign?
We got a whole list of things. No.
I can see you. You can't see me.
If you don't come on that.
I'm not here.
Call the police. No.
What?
No.
Oh my god.
No.
Oh my god. You can't stop me.
Oh my god.
I won't be stopped.
Whoa.
I said I won't be stopped. You said that?
Oh my god.
Are you gonna get out of there, man?
Yeah? I'm like an anaconda.
Oh my god.
A little bit.
What the? You're gonna give yourself a concussion.
No,
You can't have a hammock in here, dude.
Come on, just drive the bus. Everyone's got places to go.
I don't think we can. Can you get down so we can get where we're going? Please?
What?
Dude, please?
I'm staying in the hammock.
I'm not moving this bus.
You know what? There's AC in here.
Dude, get down.
I'm not getting down.
Get down.
Bus is not moving.
Get down. Get down. We have places to go.
I think our social contract has been completely annihilated. You think? Lecturing the poor. Listen to this. Wow, how disgusting. How utterly disgusting. This from a woman who has no worries about paying her bills.
Thing for me is that people's faith in the country. What's interesting for me is that people's faith in the country is waning. That's the thing that's pissing me off, because in fact, there's a reason Joe Biden ran the way he did. There's a reason he's running for democracy now, because that's really what's at stake. You worried that you can't pay your bill? Wait till the other guy becomes president, and you won't have to worry about it because you'll be in some camp somewhere. Because that's.
Oh my God. Wow. Democracy from Biden. Wow. This show is still on the air. The View. All of these women are so profoundly sick, mentally ill. They lie all of the time. And they get to live quite nicely. You're worried about your bill? Yeah, Whoopi. An awful lot of Americans are worried about their bills. Not you. Not you. You're fine. But you think Biden wants to save democracy? You're a lunatic. You have become such a gross lunatic. Psychopathic, narcissistic, not giving a shit about anything. You make an awful lot of money from your fucking lies. I was a tomboy. Yeah. I was a tomboy. And if I were a kid today, I would be railroaded by adults into changing my gender.
I don't know about you, Becky, but I probably would have done it.
I probably would have done it too. I would have taken the base.
Tomboys used to be able to grow up without being told that they were in the wrong body, that there was something wrong with them.
Tomboys used to simply be tomboys. Nothing more, nothing less. It was perfectly acceptable to just be.
I had the chance.
I had the chance to grow up, to find myself, to become secure in my womanhood.
But that's not the case today.
Today, all across the world, little girls who are tomboys are being brainwashed to believe that if they are not girly girls, then they were born in the wrong body.
They're being told if they don't fit the mold, they must be trans.
This is wrong, and we are here to stop it.
These little girls need our help. They are not born in the wrong body. There is nothing wrong with them. They are perfect as they are.
To all the young tomboys out there,
we see you.
Don't let anyone tell you that you were born in the wrong body.
You are beautiful, you are loved, and you are a strong young woman.
Save the tomboys.
Save the tomboys. I don't know about you, Becky, but...
Yeah. Now we have really profoundly mentally ill adults working as teachers, administrators, school board members, parents who railroad their very, very, very young children into something that they are not authentically. Yes, you become a boy, you become a girl. At 4 years of age, 3 years of age, 2 infants. You see how we're trapped in a hell that we can't get out of. Because too many people are profoundly mentally ill or the well-adjusted to a deeply disturbed society. I'm just going to link this. RSPC. It is the UK's ASPCA. RSPCA. Covering up cruelty. Hard to watch. We all know it's going on. We all know it is going on. And it's been going on for a very, very long time. But if you ignore it, you can't be part of any solution. Even the fucking fish. Even the fucking fish. My God. Okay. Link is in the chat. We've got an awful lot of cruelty going on. Not just in the UK, but all over. All over. So, what do we want to do? We want to bring our best self to life with as much energy as we can muster. We want to help one another. We want to be trustworthy. We want to be a mature, consistent, trustworthy human being so that people can actually depend on us and help those in our community to the best of our ability. And on that note, I say thank you for showing up. Thank you very much. Hope to see you tomorrow night. Be safe. I want to just check out radar one more time. Look at this stretching. Yeah. All right. What are we going to see tomorrow? when we check out the weather videos. I hope not much, but we will see something. Be safe, be alert. And on that note, I say good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.